says that.
Oh, good luck.
All right, top of the hour, 3:00 p.m. on Wednesday, October 25th, the year of our Lord 2023. Ball Knowers on WIUR alongside Luke Dolan.
How you doing, everyone?
I am Cameron Woolley. So we're going to do a little bit of a rundown and then a little fun segment that we have planned for you. So for starters,
everything's coming up great for me. I'm getting what I want in baseball, at least.
Except for
the thing I really want.
Except
but
for your baseball team.
But baseball.
It's a great day to be a hater.
It's a great day for me to be. I am a professional hater of the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh yeah.
And baseball owed me this, and they did, and they've got my back. They eliminated both of them. They're both gone. And now for once,
I mean, the Phillies took care of the Braves and the Diamondbacks. Talk about a random World Series. Rangers, Diamondbacks.
The first time an NL East team will be in the World Series for
in a real season. Since 2017. Since 2018, actually.
It just feels great.
It's great. Hey, if you can't root for your team to succeed, then you can root for other teams to fail. That's actually a more fruitful endeavor,
indeed,
as a sports fan, than rooting for your
actual team. And you know what also happened? Max Scherzer, still a bum. He's still a bum.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But he only pitched 2.2 innings.
Yes.
Also, I just want to get this out of the way. A lot of Yankee fans are celebrating the Astros losing. Meanwhile, it's like, am I the only Yankee fan who gets jealous of other teams seeing them beat the Astros in the playoffs? It's like something that
it doesn't happen very often.
It's like something that looks so impossible for my team to do. And there are other teams who have done it. Like believe it or not, there are plenty of teams who have knocked out the Houston Astros since
I would
2017. Know. The Red Sox have done it. The Nationals have done it.
They did.
The Braves have done it.
Yep.
Actually, wait, those are the only.
If you want to go back to 2015 when the Astros started owning the Yankees,
the Royals. Although I don't really count that because I was like everything before Aaron Judge. I don't really count that.
BJ before Judge, AG after Judge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Houston was going to go to the World Series after they took the 3-2 series.
Oh yeah, after Altuve took the clear deep in Game 5, I'm like, oh,
it's done.
No, here we go again.
And the fact that they had that Scherzer was going to be pitching in one of the two games as well, like it was basically done.
Game 7.
He was going to be pitching.
I watched Game 6, like the tail end of Game 6, because because I'm one of those resentful Yankee fans. Like I don't even want to watch playoff baseball this year because the Yankees aren't in it, and seeing other teams succeed just like makes me mad.
Yes.
Because I see teams doing something that looks impossible to my team. It's like I see Bryce Harper going off in the playoffs. I see Corbin Carroll going off. I see Adolis Garcia. And I just think, why can't Aaron Judge do that?
Bro, I'm like
why can't my stars play like stars when it matters the most? I mean, that they're the New York. I'm making this about the Yankees, which is the exact thing that other baseball fans hate about Yankee fans because everything has to pertain to us. But I'm just coming at this from the perspective of the Yankee fan. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those Yankee fans who loves baseball overall. It's like, oh, it's good for baseball. Here's the thing. A lot of stuff that non-Yankee fans think is good for baseball is bad for the Yankees. It's like, oh, the Baltimore Orioles winning 100 games is so good for baseball. Yeah, but it's bad for my team. I'm a Yankee fan before I'm a baseball fan. As much as I love baseball,
I feel like
I would happily take Major League Baseball going through another strike, another lockout. I'd accept if ratings were cut in half by cut in half. I was going to say cut in half by 50%, but that's sort of redundant. But I'd be perfectly fine with ratings being cut in half. I'd be okay with the sport having its worst year ever in the history of ever,
As long as your team's on top.
as long as the Yankees win the World Series. I'm selfish like that. When it comes to my teams, and I don't care. I know I'm coming off as a jerk here. I know that. I absolutely know that. But here's the thing: I'm a Yankee fan. No matter what my team does, Mother Teresa could be our manager, and they'd still find a way to hate us. So, pardon me if I'm not exactly super thrilled and enamored with baseball right now.
Yeah, it's also for me as a Mets fan, it's just very painful.
People root for your team when they're doing well in the playoffs. 2015, a lot of people were backing up the Mets.
Yeah, but they're the same people that are immediately going to troll the Mets as soon as they do something.
Well, yeah, people. Well, because here's the thing: the Mets are in the same boat as the Jets, and like, I'm sorry, but like the Mets, people will root for them to win, but it's really, really, really funny when things go wrong for them because things go wrong in really funny ways.
And
It's like I remember a couple years ago, Francisco Lindor almost like got sent to the IL because he slammed a door on his finger.
Or even more weird, Yoenis Cespedes is like, yeah, I'm just gonna disappear.
Yeah, Yoenis Cespedes just like deserted.
No, he just disappears from the face of the earth.
Yeah, like all this stuff just happened. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't help it. It's hilarious. It's like with the Jets. Like we're Giant fans. We can speak from the superior position on this one. I don't care how bad the Giants are right now, and I don't care how supposedly good the Jets are. The Giants will always be the bigger brother, the superior organization.
I could
like that's also in the Gettleman years, it was narrowing.
It was,
but like you can agree that we want the Jets to win.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
We want them to
the
do
Jets.
well. Dude, we were devastated when Aaron Rodgers got hurt because we want to see the Jets do well.
Yeah,
but
I'm not above laughing.
We're
I'm not above laughing at the Jets.
Yeah, either. We're not above that. We're not above that. We're Giant fans. We're football fans who aren't Jet fans. We're gonna laugh whenever things go wrong for the Jets because, well, the famine. Like there is no better case of Schadenfreude than miserable Jet fans and watching YouTube videos. Like, I've showed you the New York Jokes YouTube channel.
I think you might have, yeah.
Right? It's a father and a son. I assume they're from Long Island.
Probably.
Because that's where most Jet fans live. And it's just them live reacting to Jet games and just being miserable.
Yeah.
And just being and they yell at the TV. No, I don't know. Oh, Frank the Tank. But like, here's the thing. The Jet fans are actually kind of articulate. They're articulate. They like pick it apart. Because they're used to ranting about their team.
Yeah.
The Jet fans are like meticulous with how they pick apart their team, and they sound smart when they do it. It's not like Frank the Tank, who's like, by the way, his video reacting to the Devils' loss to the Arizona Coyotes for the second game of the season. He said, like, he has beef with Scott Van Pelt.
Yes,
the
ref's name is
right, and he said the ref's last name was Jeremy Van Pelt, and like, I'm a huge Devils fan. That made me laugh. That was so funny. Because I'm like, oh my God, of course his last name is Van Pelt.
I also got to say, I don't like it when he appears in my social media feeds because that means the Mets are probably not doing good. And I do not like that.
Come on, dude. I love for one of my although I'm a Devils fan, so Frank the Tank is kind of our mouthpiece too. It's like we although Frank the Tank is not really associated with the Devils that much. He's a Met fan. That's how he got his fame, was by I think he did, and he was
it like
he did like a street interview for ABC on like ABC or CBS on opening day of like the 2014 season, where it was just him complaining about NJ Transit, which is, I mean,
as one does.
It's a reasonable thing to do. No, I'm from New Jersey. I hate NJ Transit too.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I kind of get that.
I need, talking about like how people articulate how they feel about their teams. You could leave me with like just nothing here, and I would go down everything about a rant about the Mets in their franchise and all of the low points of the franchise.
Listen, we don't even need to come in with a script.
You don't even
We
need. You don't even
know-
need this. You don't even need to show up, Cameron. You don't need. No one
Hey,
needs to show
I
up
did
here.
the show solo last year, and I ranted about the Yankees. So
I would go over like I would probably have a tier. I would make a tier list of like Mets moments of like bad Mets moments.
oh, that's gotta be an episode. No, but that's what we do for baseball, like opening day. That we do the. You go through the laundry list of Met moments. Like you make the tier list beforehand, and then you come in.
Yep. And then we find a way to,
So
like
this
broadcast.
podcast is usually like a brainstorming session for our future shows because we just talk about things
And we get off on tangents.
and we're like, oh my God, it's a great idea. But here's the thing, like that's how podcasts work. I've been doing them for years.
I
All right.
Wanna get
Anyways,
into-
let's run through
rest-
the roundup here. So Giants won a
The-
game against
I'm
against
shocked.
the Washington football team.
That's it.
I'm
You know,
never calling them the Commanders, by the way. The moment they called themselves football team and took themselves seriously for 2 years,
I mean,
that just locked in.
they
their
didn't.
name.
They didn't trademark Commanders. They haven't
traded. They haven't traded.
No, they have not. They have not trademarked the Commanders.
Remember when they were the? I don't know if I'm allowed to say their old name
redacted
on the airwaves. Yeah, like when they were the redacted, the trademark for their name was lifted, and I remember South Park. One of my favorite South Park episodes ever.
God.
Like they made a whole episode where Cartman and like the core four basically
Oh God.
made a startup company calling them the Washington name redacted.
That's hilarious. But the Giants won. Shocked everyone, I think.
I was going in thinking that they were gonna get beaten.
And you know, the Commanders are awful. That's what that game proved.
Yeah.
How do they win 3 games? How did that team win 3 games? They're terrible.
How did that team go into that game at 500? That's what I'm curious who lost to them. I'm okay.
They beat the Broncos. I know that.
Okay, yeah. The Broncos. Yeah.
Who also won? I
Hold up.
was afraid that the Giants might have thrown away their chance to draft Caleb Williams, but they might still have a chance. That's gonna be pretty difficult.
Here are the teams who somehow found a way to lose to the team that lost to the Giants. They beat the Cardinals.
We also beat the Cardinals.
Okay. They beat the Broncos. Okay. They took the Eagles to overtime.
They compared like their loss to the Eagles to how they were losing to the Giants in a way. Like, well, we've just compared to the Eagles in the same sentence. What world do we live in?
Like, really?
Really?
And then they beat the Falcons. Okay, so 3 loser franchises.
Yeah.
Even the Broncos have 3 Super Bowls. Shut up. They had John Elway and Peyton Manning for all those Super Bowls. And I don't care if Peyton Manning was washed. That's Peyton Manning's still your quarterback.
They haven't been able to get back to any sort of relevance since
Peyton Manning retired. So
but,
just saying.
But yeah,
that's what happened to the Broncos. Peyton Manning retired.
And now Daniel Jones might be out of the job.
Tyrod Taylor looked so much better running that offense than Daniel Jones has
and
all year outside of one half.
And he's making $35 million less.
Yeah, dude, Tyrod Taylor. And I know when Jones eventually comes back, he's going to be named the starter, which
he should be.
I think it's a bad foot. If you want to win, if your priority is to win right now, which I think if you're Brian Daboll, your job is to go out there and put together the team that gives you the best chance to win, unless there's some sort of cahoots going on between him and Joe Schoen and John Mara. Like if ownership and football ops are all on the same page, it's like, hey, we're gonna throw him out there because we want to lose a lot of games. We want to take the kid out of USC. Then the priority changes.
Yeah,
but.
Or that kid
most likely, the process of Brian Daboll right now is to put together the team that gives him the best chance to win games.
as
And I
coach
don't,
would.
and I don't like saying that about a quarterback because that means like it's not a lot of good options. Although, like starting Tyrod Taylor is not waving a white flag. Tyrod Taylor has been serviceable everywhere he has played.
Yeah.
Although I do
He's
wish,
kinda like the new
I
age-
do
he's kinda
wish
like
he'd be a little more careful running the ball.
He's kind of like the new age, like modern day Drew Bledsoe.
Okay,
So,
Drew Bledsoe went to a Super Bowl. Dude, Drew Bledsoe was really good. You're kind of underestimating how good.
I know.
Oh no, wait, you mean like he gets
He-
Wally pipped all the time?
He gets Wally pipped all the time.
Oh yeah,
He got Wally pipped all the time.
that's like the greatest. Okay, outside of maybe Wally Pipp himself, Drew Bledsoe has the most famous case of being Wally pipped.
Oh yeah.
Like, because Wally Pipp, I mean, the whole name comes from Wally Pipp was the Yankee first baseman. He got hurt, and then who took over for him? None other than Lou Gehrig, who's like a top 5 baseball player ever.
Yep. And yeah, I was shocked they won. Just shocked.
That defense,
They matched their whole like season totals in one game.
dude. Deontay Banks, although I didn't like how he matched up against Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, Scary Terry was like still getting everything.
He got burnt a few times, but he got the pick. Which also, by the way, Sam Howell, really? That's the guy who was getting hyped up on Twitter by Washington fans all offseason. Are you kidding me?
Bro, I couldn't believe it.
Are you kidding? It's like I was watching that game. It's like I've never seen Sam Howell play. And it's like I've never sat down to watch Sam Howell play because I'm never gonna sit down to watch a Washington football team.
You know what I also noticed? I noticed that there was an offensive line worse.
I don't know.
Worse than the New York Football Giants offensive line.
I don't know how that.
Do you have any idea how hard that is to do?
It's incredibly hard.
I was like, "This is this."
Although Tyrod Taylor, it's maybe a little bit of a coinky dink here that the moment Daniel Jones got taken out of the starting spot and Tyrod Taylor got put in, who has better pocket presence, he can move around, he can sense pressure better than Daniel Jones. All of a sudden, the offensive line starts looking a little bit better.
They still gave up 6 sacks.
Yeah, they gave up 6 sacks, but again, Justin Pugh came literally
off the couch.
I mean, that's going to be a sound,
as he said.
that's going to be a soundbite that we're going to be using for the rest of the year. But Justin Pugh literally came off the couch, and he's been more serviceable. He's only giving up 2 sacks a game, which is like, okay, I'd take that. But like Tyrod Taylor has delivered the throws that he's needed to deliver, outside of him bungling the whole both goal line situations in Buffalo. But and we don't talk about that because Daniel Jones probably throws a pick or fumbles or the drive stalls out way before that.
They don't even get to the red zone.
Yeah, they don't even get to the red zone with Daniel Jones as their quarterback. And I hate saying this about Daniel Jones because I root for him. I want him to do well. He's such an easy guy to root for. He's caught so much shade from literally the second his name was announced on the draft stage. And last year, I loved watching Daniel Jones play well and prove people wrong and play the way that, to be honest, I didn't think he could play.
Yeah. With the team around him.
With the team around him, Daniel Jones was being smart. He was being efficient. We thought he was done making the mistakes that he made in years past, and now this year he started making the mistakes again.
The team took a whole step back.
The team took a whole step back, but no, the receivers have gotten better. The receivers have gotten better. Daniel Jones just doesn't give them a chance to make a play. There have been multiple plays. Tyrod Taylor is playing behind that same exact offensive line. He is throwing more deep shots to Jalen Hyatt, more deep shots to Darren Waller, more deep shots to Darius Slayton. He's taking more risks.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is not
trusting his receivers to make plays.
Jones doesn't take risk, but he's still making mistakes.
He's making mistakes while trying to be a conservative quarterback.
I know
that if you're gonna make mistakes, at least be a gunslinger. I mean, Brett Favre all-time leader in interceptions. Nobody brings that up while talking about him now. This guy threw 30 touchdowns every year.
He's like in the top 3 in touchdown passes. I think.
Yeah, because he pushed it. He threw picks because he was going for big plays, and he made a lot of big plays. And Daniel Jones should be that type of quarterback. He should be going out there and making the contested throws. He should be taking risks. He should be trying to make the big plays. And Tyrod Taylor has shown a lot of people what this giant receiver core is capable of. Dude, Jalen Hyatt, still criminally underutilized.
I can't believe that was called a catch after review. That his second catch. I can't believe they ruled that a catch.
It was a nice play.
I know, yeah.
Like, dude, but Jalen Hyatt going deep downfield. You got Darren Waller. I mean, this is a legitimately half decent receiver.
And we have Saquon back too.
Yeah, and Saquon Barkley. So this is a serviceable group of skill positions. Like a serviceable group. This is a solid group of guys. You got receivers who can get separation. You got a running back who can make big plays. And a quarterback who, not that good. The offense, a lot of the time, looked functional with him.
Yeah, I would agree. It makes you think what they're going to do. If they can, whatever direction
if they start Daniel Jones. I swear if they start Daniel Jones this week, although the injury report has probably
been updated.
I'm wondering if the injury report has been updated. I'm gonna go to we'll go to Jordan Ronan.
Yeah. They're also playing better without Evan Neal. That's also something to think about.
Yeah, Tyre Phillips.
Tyre Phillips has been the guy who they replaced. They got off the practice squad is better than our 7th overall pick offensive tackle. Yeah. They need to move.
That's a real black eye on Shane's resume. Although the other first round pick from that draft has started to play really well.
Man,
I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau. I know you're a big fan of his.
Oh yeah,
you have his jersey.
I do have his jersey.
I haven't bought a Giant jersey in years.
I believe in the hype. I believe in him. And he had a great game on Sunday. He had a great game.
Dexter Lawrence too. Oh, dude. Like every single time Dexter Lawrence gets a sack, my dad texts me and he's like, "Oh yeah, the sexy Dexy Dexter does the."
I love Dexter Lawrence so much. And,
dude, he's just a pudgy, fat dude who's really good at hitting the quarterback.
He's just so good.
Like, he looks like a joy to be around.
He does.
I could totally imagine myself just being out somewhere, like in the city. Although I never go into the city, but like I could totally imagine myself just being out in someplace, and I could just imagine myself running into Dexter Lawrence and having a good time. I could just be in there. I could just see him like at a table, just with 2 plates of wings. I could see him just devouring a bunch of stuff because he's a big dude. I mean, the guy needs to eat.
Yes.
How do you think he maintains that peak physique?
A lot of eating.
I don't know if you noticed, but there are so many cases of like offensive and defensive linemen after they retire.
Oh my god, they lose
just deflating.
Oh my god,
like Sean O'Hara.
Yeah, he's like
you see him now, dude. Sean O'Hara is skinny
compared to what he was. When he was the offensive line, the center.
Like my dad went to the divisional round preview show because it was at a place he used to work at. And he would say, he's like, dude, like in person, Sean O'Hara, he's skinny compared to when he played because he's not eating as much.
He's on a different, he doesn't have to be on like that diet anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be force fed like 5 million. Like they eat so much protein 8 times a day. Not even just protein, just like carbs, anything they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
Dude, they give them buckets of fried chicken for crying out. They're allowed to eat. All they gotta do, dude, they're perpetually bulking for their entire careers.
Yes.
That's awesome. All you do is eat and hit PRs in the weight room. I've done it before. It's awesome.
Yeah. It sounds awesome. Do we want to talk about hockey real quickly?
Yeah, briefly talk about puck before we go into our next segment. Randy, how the Rangers doing lately?
They just keep winning. They
Well,
just keep
let's have a look at the standings here.
They just keep again. Anytime they win in the ways they are winning now, it is becoming more apparently obvious that Gerard Gallant was just some guy in a suit behind the bench. He wasn't a coach. Pierre Laviolette is an NHL head coach. And the difference in teams and how and the two teams from this year and last year are very apparent and easy to spot. They're winning games so much more convincingly with offensive possession, and they're winning face-offs for once. They never they have not been they have the Rays have not been above 50% in the face-off. Have a chance. I mean, there's still a lot of season to go, but they have not finished a season above 50% in the face-off dot since 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
For context, the Rangers are 4-2-0 right now with 8 points. That is atop the Metropolitan Division. My team, the New Jersey Devils, in second with a game in hand at 3-1-1 with 7 points. A three-way tie for second with the Philadelphia Flyers and the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, it's early
Right?
talk. It's early in the season.
Yeah, early in the season. Yeah, this is the last time you'll see. Although Devils Flyers playoff series, I could get behind that.
Why? Because you would win?
I mean, no Carter Hart, but like, dude, that rival. I've always said that rivalry at its peak was better than Devils Rangers. Like in terms of Devils rivalries all time, Devils Flyers at its peak was so much better because it was people from New Jersey and people from Philadelphia just at each other's throats like every year in the playoffs, and it was the best. The 95 Eastern Conference Finals, the Devils beat the Flyers, and then 2000, the Devils were down 3-1 and came back to win that series in 7. That was the Stevens Eric Lindros hit. So, and Patrick Elias scored the go-ahead goal at what the fans affectionately called the FU Center.
Wait, did they
with like 2 minutes left in Game 7 to give the Devils?
Is that what you call the Spectrum?
I think it was the First Union Center or something.
Oh, okay. But speaking of rivalries and heated rivalries, I think this is a good segue to get into the topic. What we want to talk about.
I want to bring up one guy here. Jack Hughes. I love this guy. I love him. I can't say anything bad about the guy. He has. Get ready for this.
I'm ready.
In 5 games played, 14 points. I think they mentioned on the Devils broadcast last night that you know who didn't
what's
do
the
that?
Average on that?
You know who didn't do that to open a season?
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky didn't do that. He's so Jack Hughes is back to shattering more Devils records. So, like, yeah, that's and all of them primary points, no secondary assists. All of them are either goals or primary assists. He had 4 primary assists last night. Tyler Toffoli getting the hat trick in a 5-2 win.
I mean, you also were playing the Habs.
Canadiens. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that's if you're gonna stat pad, that's a team. That's a game to do it against.
The Habs aren't as much of a pushover as some other teams. Like there are some pretty bad pushovers out there. I mean, you got the
Sharks.
Yeah, the Sharks.
Although I don't. Did they win last night? I'm not sure.
But you're like a kind of Sharks fan, right?
Yeah, I like the Sharks. I can't. I don't have a.
They liquidated their entire team though.
Oh yeah,
like they literally have nothing. The Devils were the Devils were.
I mean, they still have Logan Couture and
the Devils were the benefactors of some of that liquidation. Timo Meier on the Devils on 8-year deal. So
how is he doing?
He is. He's finding his legs. They're still trying to figure out who to put him with on a line. They keep trying to put him with Nico Hischier, for obvious reasons, because they're both Swiss. And that line, I'm confused. Is at the World Championships, whenever they played together, the Nico Hischier, Timo Meier line looked so good. And it looked so much better than it has in the NHL so far. And everybody was like, oh, Nico Hischier and Timo Meier. It's like when everyone was talking about, for years, the Devils have been in every single trade rumor for Timo Meyer because of
because
Nico
Nico
Hischier.
Hischier.
And the
I mean, it's
moment
a
he comes
perfect
here,
fit,
he
but
doesn't
now-
have that much. Well, he's playing with Jack Hughes now, which, oh no, he's playing with Jack Hughes instead of Nico
What a
Hischier.
demotion!
Yeah, wow. Boo.
Or wait, is a
That
promotion? Is that a promotion?
depends on who you ask. Because Nico Hischier, if you're playing on a line with Nico Hischier, you don't have to worry about playing defense. Nico Hischier will just. He's like a honey badger on the puck, dude. He was a Selke finalist last year.
That's always good. And now the Selke's trophy is finally wide open.
It's not the Bergeron trophy anymore. Which, speaking of Bergeron, the Bruins are 6-0.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
No, I'm not. I
honestly,
honestly,
I'm looking at the standings. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're doing it again?
bro,
They still got Marchand and Pasternak, but
a lot
give
of the
me a
team that was still
break.
there last year is still that was on the team last year. They're still here. A lot of the players are still
their
there.
top line center is
Pavel Zacha. How does that make you feel?
Zacha. I don't care, dude. I like Eric Holla. I'm contrary to what you probably think. Devils fans aren't losing sleep over Pavel Zacha being traded. The guy's a stormtrooper.
You know, that's kind of how I feel with.
At least for the Devils, he was a stormtrooper. He could not hit an open net if his life depended on it.
That's how I feel about Neil Pionk.
Oh, that's right, Neil Pionk. I forgot about that guy.
Yeah,
he was
in the Trooper trade,
yeah.
And now he's like, oh, now he's good. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't care. I don't care. Like people say, oh, the Trouba trade was so bad. Look how great Neil Pionk is. I do not care. I do not give a. I do not care.
Here's the thing: the gap in skill between Pavel Zacha and Eric Holla is a bit thinner than that of, at this point, Neil Pionk and Jacob Trouba, especially with the contract.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Pionk had like one highlight reel goal. And he could not get, and he couldn't, for the life of him, could not move anyone out of the net, out of the crease to save his life. He got pushed around like
on the Rangers.
Yeah,
I mean the Rangers back then couldn't play defense either. So
yeah, now they can.
Now
they kind of can.
They have structure.
They have structure. They have offense. They're second in offensive zone percentage.
You did the new NHL Edge stats.
It's beautiful. I feel great knowing that the Rangers are like actually like good in advanced numbers now. It's just wonderful to see. They have good puck position. They're so man.
What do their Corsi numbers look like?
I haven't checked that. I can't really check because my phone is not connected to the Wi-Fi.
And also like offensive zone time. There are different teams. There's that stat can be kind of flawed in a way because like there are certain teams like the Devils technically have negative offensive zone possession.
I mean, and the Carolina is like number one in offensive zone possession.
Well, yeah,
and look at them them right now.
No, I'm saying like Carolina. Well, Carolina's gonna bounce back. It depends on the system they play. Because a team like the Devils, their offense is built on the counterattack and chances off the rush, not really sustained. Like they don't get a lot of sustained zone possession at 5-on-5. Most of their premier chances at 5-on-5 come off the rush because they use their speed and some of their playmaking ability on the fly and their skating and all of that. They're a team that's built. They're built like the Colorado Avalanche. That was the team they were kind of modeled after. Was the Avalanche also like maybe a little bit of the 2010s Pens? Because Tom Fitzgerald, like Ray Shero and Tom Fitzgerald, I think they were with the Penguins.
I know Ray Shero was the GM of the Penguins.
And I think he brought Tom Fitzgerald with him.
Okay. But yeah.
But like again, the Devils aren't a team who is predicated on their forecheck. If they were a team that was built on, like in the Pierre DeBoer days, that was a team that forechecked a lot. Meanwhile, the Devils of today, they don't really throw the body around at all.
I mean, they are They are predicated on their speed.
Yeah, the speed and the rush.
Yeah,
Like chances are, like the Devils.
opportunistic.
Yeah, the Devils might be overall the best team in the league at
It's
that.
kind of like how the Rangers played on when under Alain Vigneault, but they were always like they were like collapse. Well, they were primarily like trying to get on men rushes a lot, predicated on getting on men rushes.
I mean, it was pretty easy when you had Carl Hagelin on your team.
I mean, in his stone hands.
That guy, he could skate though.
Yeah, just
Like, you want to talk about a guy who could skate in a straight line? Oh my, Carl Hagelin.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, the real test for both the Rangers and Devils are probably when they're gonna face off each other. That'll be the test for both teams.
I mean, Devils ran like now, obviously. I mean, with the playoff series and all that, there's definitely a lot more emphasis, or like it's more of a measuring stick at this point. Also, like Carolina, too. For both
yeah,
teams.
for sure. I would say so. Do you want to get into topic today? Finally.
Oh yeah. We get into our funny little segment here.
We teased it a bit last week, kind of out of nowhere.
We're talking about, as in the title of this video, the biggest sports villains from our lifetime.
Yep, and our sports fandom. You want to start with the Giants, since that's where we have commonality.
Okay, let's get the obvious out of the way. Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, he was good. The punt return, and every single time.
I mean,
that punt return alone.
That just summarizes a lot of like how the Giants and Eagles matchups have been like for like a while now.
I don't think the Giants have ever gotten like a miracle thing to go in their direction against the Eagles.
The Eagles will do something like to really like mess with the Giants or like to break the Giants out, and then the Giants will be like, "We're gonna start winning now and win the Super Bowl." Yeah, that hasn't happened yet this time, but it used to be that way. Because when the Deshaun Jackson returned the punt the following year, the Giants went on to win the Super Bowl.
Like, well, yeah, that.
And after the first miracle,
that put Matt Dodge.
Oh,
I think he's a villain too. Matt Dodge is a villain to us. All he had
to do was kick the ball out of bounds.
We probably still would have lost that game though.
Eagles. Who's to say? Who is to say?
The Eagles would have won the coin toss, and they would have won in overtime.
But we'll never know.
That's how that game would have ended. That game was being lost either way.
But we'll never know because Matt Dodge didn't kick it out of bounds like he should have.
The shot of Tom Coughlin just screaming at him, like
you knew he was done.
One of the funniest things ever. And if there's one thing Tom Coughlin hated was losing games in stupid ways like that. I'll say the Giants rarely beat themselves with Tom Coughlin as head coach.
Yeah.
Because Tom Coughlin hated one thing more than anything else in the world, and that was fumbling.
Yep.
The Giants did not fumble that much under Tom Coughlin.
Oh, they did not. They did not. Because of a certain Tiki Barber character.
Yeah, Tiki Barber. Oh, don't get me started on Tiki Barber. Does he consider him?
Is he considered a villain?
Oh no, he's just annoying.
After his career
anymore. I'm like,
or the way he left.
He burnt every single bridge and blew up the remains.
Yeah. Are there any other like Giants?
And
Boston Scott.
I don't know. More Eagle. Boston Scott. Yeah.
I don't know if is he really a villain?
He hasn't really done anything
except he hasn't done anything
except score a touchdown every single time the Giants play the Eagles.
Yeah,
and Nick Sirianni does it on purpose too.
That's a guy who's like if he's getting up there.
Nick Sirianni villain. I just hate his.
He's a dork.
He's a massive dork, and he acts like he's this all-time.
He seems like a narcissist.
He's this all-time. He acts like he's this all-time great coach. Meanwhile, he's
on a free ride.
He's playing with the greatest show on turf as his offense, and the monsters of the Midway as his defense. So
and the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, he's playing with the Georgia Bulldogs, which were But at this point, they were basically the monsters of the Midway and the SEC.
Yep. And I'm trying to think who else is like up there in villains for Giants that I can remember.
Jason Witten,
Yeah.
any tight end.
Any tight end ever.
Brent Selleck. Oh, I hated Brent Selleck.
Oh wait, the referees in the wild card game against San Francisco.
Oh, 2000. Oh, dude, you're going back for that one.
The referee.
The missed PI. It was so bad that they admitted that it was a missed PI. They didn't do anything about it, but they admitted that it was a missed PI.
Yeah, it sure helps now.
Also, not for nothing, the long snapper on that too. Like that's what my dad always stresses, like long snapping. Like when I was a kid, when I was a kid, he'd take me out to backyard and like he'd make me practice my long snapping. It's like, hey, it's a good gig. You got to do one thing. Like you play 15 years, make around 500 grand each of them. That's a good career. Yeah. Dude, Zach DeOssie. Can you think of any time during Zach DeOssie's career where there was like a really bad snap?
I mean, his steadiness didn't carry over when he lost one of his Super Bowl rings. Did you hear? He lost one of his Super Bowl rings.
Really?
Yeah.
Zach, that's a tragedy.
Ironic because his hands were basically his job.
Oh yeah.
I think I'd have to see. I think he lost like one of his Super Bowl rings.
I'm so mad that he never scored a touchdown. The only long snapper who I can name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't name. If you gun to my head, I cannot name the Giants long snapper right now.
It's like Casey Treader or something. I don't know his name.
I think. Yeah.
And
he's not exactly the greatest at his job. He's no Zach DeOssie.
I mean, if you hear his name, I don't know if it's a good thing. It's kind of one of those positions.
Like we liked Zach DeOssie because he was there for so long and he was so reliable. Also, again, my dad drilled the idea of long snappers being super important into my head, which they are. He was also a kicker in high school, so like.
And you want to switch over to the Mets and Yankees villains?
Villains. Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, George Springer,
anybody the Houston Astros,
anybody from that Astro team.
David Ortiz.
I hate them. I don't hate David Ortiz. David Ortiz is just really good. Manny Ramirez. I'm like a little bit too young to really understand how much
for Red Sox.
How much I should hate David Ortiz more than I do. Because like he's really funny on TV.
He is.
Pedro Martinez. I can't stand Pedro. Pedro Martinez is I hate Pedro.
What about from your own? Would it be considered villains if they were on your own team? Would that
Aroldis Chapman? Oh, you got me started on Aroldis Chapman. Oh, this guy, every single time I'd watch him pitch, never did my heart rate get to a normal level. Because every single time this guy would come out on the mound, he'd be wild. Every single count, we'd get to at least 2 balls or 3 balls. Or he'd walk the guy entirely because he had absolutely no command of his pitches. Multiple times where he was responsible for the Yankees season just ending outright.
But he could throw a great fastball, man. He's got that going for him.
Oh, of course, you love Aroldis Chapman, but like
every time I would watch him,
he could not pitch. He could not control his fastball.
There was a stretch, like an unprecedented streak, where I would watch Aroldis. I started in the 2016 World Series, where Aroldis Chapman would just give up like the game tying or go ahead home run without fail whenever I would see him pitch. It was like actually, I thought I cursed him. I legit think I had a curse on him.
Did you watch?
I watched Rafael Devers hit his first career home run off of him.
Oh, that's right. That was Devers' first career home run.
And the 9th inning. Hey, go
Yeah.
ahead, bro. It was an unprecedented streak.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna name notable Chapman blowups.
2016 World Series.
2016 World Series. Jose Altuve.
Yeah.
Mike Brasso.
I don't know if I watched. I don't think so. That I remember Pete Alonso got a home run off of him.
Yeah. Pete Alonso had a walk-off home, but that's not really okay. Pete Alonso got him a couple times.
And I was watching. The
but there was a Yankee game against the Twins a couple of years ago where he just completely folded. Nelson Cruz hit a game-tying homer, and Josh Donaldson hit a walk-off homer.
I don't know if I saw that one. I can't say I remember a lot of them, but I know it was like, geez, anytime I'd see he would do something like just throw up another like cookie at the plate.
He would do something that makes me hate him.
And
but I unashamedly hate Aroldis Chapman because not only is he a terrible pitcher, he's a terrible person.
What about? Oh, speaking of terrible people, Alex Rodriguez. What is your?
I am.
I don't even consider a villain.
2009. 2009.
The one time he shows up.
He carried us in 2009. If it weren't for him, the Yankees would be in the middle of a 23-year World Series drought.
Oh, I feel so bad. I would have felt so bad.
No, if it weren't, dude, if you think the Yankee fans are mad right now, imagine if A-Rod didn't pop off in 2009.
Well, that would have been business as usual. Hit for him in the playoffs.
No, A-Rod won 2 MVPs with the Yankees. He was a great hitter. He never even juiced with the Yankees once. Not sure was he pretentious? Absolutely.
He served longest suspension.
Well, yeah, because MLB just needed a whipping boy, and A-Rod, they made an example out of him. Everybody did steroids. Everybody did it. David Ortiz did it, and he's considered a hero. Everybody loves David Ortiz. Nobody can get enough of David Ortiz.
That is odd that he didn't get the same ridicule.
David Ortiz.
I need to know the context behind that.
I mean, because people hate the Yankees and people love the Red Sox. The Red Sox, after they started winning, nobody really liked them.
They lost everything that made them likable.
Yeah, they lost everything. That also Boston.
Yeah. I guess I'll go down a very long list of Mets villains.
Oh boy. All right. We're gonna be here for a bit.
I don't know if there's enough time in a day for me to
just go down the list of names.
We got Chase Utley.
All right.
We got Larry Chipper Jones. I mean, the man's named his son after Shea Stadium. That is narcissism at its finest. And just like
I keep going down the list. I want to hear this.
We got Carlos Beltran. Even though he played for his best baseball with the Mets, he's defined by one moment. And he shares that moment with 2 other Mets villains, Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina.
All right.
I took pleasure in seeing Adam Wainwright being so garbage this year in his chase for 200 wins, and he might have ruined his career. So he ruined his career for it. He legit ruined his career for it, and I took pleasure in that downfall.
Keep going down the list.
We got
Come on.
We got
I'll roll off name Tom Glavine.
Yeah, the game 162 and 07. I don't know if I've heard of. Looking back at it, I don't know if I've heard anyone get more booed by their own fans as hard as he did when he came off the mound after the first inning, letting up 7 runs in a must-win game, one last game. We got Earl Hershiser. We got Pete Rose as well. Everyone hates Pete Rose. Mike Scott. Don't like him. Oh my God. Rage Roger. That guy sucks.
Roger Clemens.
Oh, I thought I threw the ball and yeah, man, what a coincidence. I don't know what ball looks like this. And I don't know why you'd be throwing it at the player when you're supposed to be throwing it at the first base bag. Man, Roger, what was that all about? I mean, Piazza also owned him for his whole career.
The Yankees won that series in 5 games. So
Yeah, well, Roger Clemens still sucks.
yeah.
We also got Paul DeYoung. Oh, and Jesse Winker.
Yeah.
It's an unprecedentedly long. Oh, how could I forget Bryce Harper?
Oh,
boy.
Here we go.
There is no. You could see the great images of space, the nice sandy beaches, or the mountains of Colorado. There is no prettier image than seeing Bryce Harper strike out. There is no image that brings me more joy than seeing Bryce Harper strike out. And my goodness, 2015 was the peak of that. When the Mets were making their run to win the NL East that year, seeing Bryce Harper fail at the plate brought joy to my heart. It really did. And his failures still bring joy to my heart. Honestly. When he said he would bring a World Series to New Washington, even though he just signed with Philly in the introductory press conference, and then the Nationals didn't win the World Series, he fulfilled his promise. Unintentionally. But yeah, anytime, I do not like Bryce Harper, if you couldn't tell. Who else?
Juan Soto.
I don't really hate Juan Soto that much.
Well, because you think your team's gonna sign him.
I guess I don't really have a beef with Juan Soto. That's the whole thing.
He's just good at baseball.
Oh, I don't like Manny Machado, but I don't know if he's really a villain.
He's just Manny Machado.
That's just who he is. Brody Van Way. Oh, okay, no, the Overlords, the Wilpons.
Oh,
the Overlords.
There we go.
So I was trying to think of players, but I'm like forgetting the obvious, like the people who ran operations there.
People who run your team.
The people who run my team are the biggest war criminals.
You hate them
most. I mean, they quite literally dealt with criminals. They dealt with Bernie Madoff. I mean, it writes itself. And Jeff Wilpon, man, I really hope you're enjoying the unemployment line, Jeff. The only reason why you were the Mets CEO was because your dad was the actual owner. That is the only reason why you ran baseball operations for so long and you went unchecked. And then your dad finally put you in your place when he sold the team to Steve Cohen. I wish nothing but the worst for you, Jeff.
I'll tell you thought that was big. Let's get ready for this. What about Glenn Sather?
He's still with the Rangers. We're going to switch to hockey now. He is still with the Rangers. That's all I need to say. That dude could. You know how you view Brian Cash?
Don't curse. I know it's coming, but don't curse.
I wasn't going. You know how you said like how you hate Brian Cashman? They could find anything.
Yeah, Brian Cashman's one of my bones. I hate him.
That is how I feel about Glenn Sather. Even though he doesn't really run much of anything, he's still with the organization in the shadows. That dude. He fell backwards out of a gift from Sweden in the 7th round, fell right into his lap, and Henrik Lundqvist, and he rode off his success for his entire career. He could not draft to save his life, especially in the early 2000s. Man, and I go to the 2003 first round draft class.
This one.
A class where everyone seemed to get everything. Man, you got include like Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, Zach Parise, I think. Brett Burns, basically and Jeff Carter, and you couldn't miss in the 2003 draft class. And somehow Glenn Sather up there on the tee swung and missed at could not hit the ball. He was the Gas House Gorillas against Bugs Bunny, and he couldn't hit a single fit. They were the only team that somehow missed when they drafted Hugh Jessamine, or as Rangers fans like to call him, Huge Specimen. You know how many games he played in his career?
How many?
2. You know how long it took him to make his debut after being drafted? Like 8 years. And you know who made his team that he's made his debut with? Not the Rangers. And they missed out on on Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, Brett Burns, Aaron's, and whatnot. You know, players that could have changed the trajectory of the franchise. Oh, and then we go with 2006. We draft Bobby Sanguinetti, who would we actually I think recorded at one point the fastest skating time for AHL history in the All-Star game competition.
Thomas AHL All-Star game.
Yeah, he was an Olympian too. But you know who was picked right after Bobby Sanguinetti?
Who?
By the Philadelphia Flyers.
Claude Giroux.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that off rip. I just said it.
You can just threw a dart and it was right, and it was right. That's how you need to know. Oh, and his
Claude Giroux has been killing both of our teams for years. Although he's not on the Flyers anymore.
He's on the Senators. But man, he also had some more duds. He legit could not draft to save his life. And if he were to have had an improvement of any one of his first round picks in the early 2000s, that would have probably may have changed a lot of things of how the Rangers are viewed today. They might have been able to change how they might have won a cup by now since '94. If they would have just nailed any single one of their first round picks in the early 2000s. But anyways, let's talk enough about the war criminal of Glenn Sather. Let's talk about actual players who actually hurt me. We got Adam Henrique.
Yeah.
The entire LA Kings roster.
Yep, we share that one.
Yep. I just hate when they've always played the Alex Martinez goal like every time. I can never escape it.
Yeah, that goal has been like drilled into your memory by everybody. It's like a hot nail being constantly hammered in your skin.
Yep.
Every playoffs.
Twisting a knife.
A very hot knife. Like 1,000-degree knife. Remember those videos?
Man, the YouTube algorithm. And those videos. But I'm trying to think now again. Oh well, I guess Marty Brodeur was a big villain.
Yeah,
bro. They would jeer him like in regular season games at the Garden. The one goalie they would actually jeer in regular season games.
A lot of people.
Oh my god, Dennis Potvin.
Oh,
they still chant. They banned the "Let's Go" band chant ever since they started chanting "Potvin sucks." They still do that 40 years later.
Here's the thing: he didn't suck. He just owned your team.
I mean, 18,000 people every night will disagree with you.
They're New York sports fans. They're the same people who chant F. Altuve at every Yankee Astro game before he hits a home run.
I don't. Oh, Tom Wilson. I don't like him.
Nobody likes Tom Wilson.
Wow, that's what the NHL media doesn't tell you. The big heads at NHL insiders tell you. They say, you know what? They also say Carey Price is a great goalie, and Henrik Lundqvist is not a great goalie. Actually,
nobody says Henrik Lundqvist isn't a great goalie. Everyone universally agrees that he's an all-time great, and he should have won.
Very odd they don't mention it though.
He should have won Stanley Cups. Everybody, I'm a Devils fan, and I can admit that Henrik Lundqvist was an all-time great.
Thank you. I needed that. But who are your villains for the Devils?
Sean Avery.
I love him.
Anze Kopitar. No, Anze Kopitar, Jeff Carter, Drew Doughty. Jonathan Quick. Whoa, big time Jonathan Quick. If it weren't for him, the Devils would have won the Cup in 2012. Mark Fan, because he missed a wide open net in Game 1 of the 2012 final. Ilya Kovalchuk.
Ilya Kovalchuk.
The Devils fans would agree. Dude, no fan base hates Ilya Kovalchuk more than the Devils. But I appreciate what he's done.
You know,
rattle off names and I'll tell you whether I think they're villains or not.
Sidney Crosby. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention
No,
Sidney
an
Crosby.
enemy of my Sidney. I don't hate Sidney Crosby. It's like enemy of my enemy is my friend. You know this.
Yeah. Alex Ovechkin.
No.
Kind of.
I like Ovechkin. Like
I mean,
Devils villains. I mean, the one I can't stand from that Washington team, Nick Backstrom. No, John Carlson. I hate John Carlson. Every single time he plays the Devils, they're playing. The Devils are playing the Capitals tonight. I guarantee John Carlson's going to score.
Want to make? All right, I'll keep an eye on that then. And I'll be sure to let you know if he scores later tonight.
Yep.
Jack Hughes is becoming a villain. Is slowly becoming a villain.
If he isn't already a villain, dude. Ranger. I mean, well, Jack Hughes has.
Tony DeAngelo.
Dude, Jack Hughes has been up to the Rangers ever since he's like been drafted.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. We're actually really running low on time. So, sorry for the abrupt.
Yeah. Maybe next time I'll have to have a more tier. We'll have to bring in like a more tier list, a legit board.
Maybe a tier list. Perhaps.
But
maybe next time. Anyways, this has been Ball Knowers alongside Luke Dolan. I am Cameron Woolley, wishing you a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and signing off.
Take care.